Can you say hard hats, folks? Hard hats, lunch pail, steel toe boots.
Anything short of a championship this year is a failure.
Look at this boomer right here.
You've just got so much talent here.
Somebody said we need to apologize for Jalen.
Can I call it John? What are we apologizing for? What did we say? What did we do?
What's going on, guys? Happy Kristaps Porzingis Day, Bobby.
Yeah, thrilled to have it, and badly needed, I think.
Yeah, I mean, look at how many things just him being alive and playing solves, and we'll take everybody through the kind of arc of everything. But you knew Porzingis was getting close. The Celtics, true to form, gave zero information because no reason, really no good reason why, kept this really close, like they were guarding nuclear secrets. It's just a player and when he's going to play, but we didn't know. But you could see it, as you reported, Bobby, the game in Maine was 32 minutes of basketball. That's a lot of basketball to play competitive, full scrimmage. You knew he was getting close. And
they knew that day he was going to play today.
Yeah, so they knew. They chose not to tell us because, again, who the hell knows why? Doesn't matter. They don't necessarily have to reveal who's coming and who's not. But you went from Porzingis being out with no timetable to Porzingis all of a sudden being in. That was it. And just like that, boom, the report comes out. Hats off to Cam, not Shams, Cam. Cam gets full credit from Celtics Wire, and who does the podcast here on Celtics Lab, C's Lab, on the CLNS Media Network, was the actual person who broke the story. The Kristaps Porzingis was playing. And again, the impact was immediate, Bobby. And of all of the things that you've talked about, and one of the reasons I tend to, not dismiss, but downplay the rim protection and some of the things that have, and rotational issues that have, gone up against the C's, and, Tillman didn't, play well in his minutes, and Cornette in his, or Kayada in his the last couple of games. None of it really matters because when Porzingis comes back and plays, you know that you're fine. And again, you're still short in your rotation tonight. And it doesn't really matter because, again, it solves so many problems. You're playing this game and you don't even have your full team. You don't have Al Horford out there. So you're still playing those other guys. But Porzingis instantly solves, he becomes an instant lob threat. He becomes an instant rim protector and a deterrent where you didn't have it, and you saw him affecting shots and blocking shots, right away. And just extending that defense out, having to guard somebody 30 feet from the basket. All of the things that he does were on display tonight. Yeah,
and to that rim protection point, I just pulled up the Clippers' first half shot chart. It looked like about 9 for 22 around the rim. For LA, so immediate impact around the rim. And Kayada was really good in this game, too. We'll get to him later. But, you had 2 7-footers for the length of the game here. And even, you love Horford and the things he brings defensively, but it's just all the difference in the world having 2 7-footers out there for the entirety of the game.
Let's pop in on Joe real quick and hear what he has to say.
Joe, obviously, Kristaps back 22 minutes. Was that the plan? And what did you see for him in that time?
I thought he played well. Just be able to get back to some of our defensive versatility. Obviously, a little bit of rim protection, a little bit more physicality on the ball because it was back there. And so I thought he brought that offensively. Just really helped our spacing. So it was good to get him back.
And like in the third quarter, when you guys had a little bit of a stumble there at the beginning, you go to Porzingis there for those post-ups. It's an element that you really haven't had, that particular type of play. I mean, just what does it mean to you to have that kind of option when you need to go to something to stop a run?
Yeah, it just changes the frequency of the game. Work to get baskets in a different way, especially versus the different covers. I thought the guys tonight did a great job reading the coverages. The Clippers do a great job changing matchups and coverages on the fly, and we were able to read that throughout the game and kind of get the shot that we wanted. But to have that post presence to where you can get different looks it's important for us.
Joe, with KP, I think he took 3 of the first 4 shots of the game. Was that a concerted effort to come involved early, or was that just the guys reading the game, like you said?
Just reading the game, depending upon his matchup. I thought he was open, so it's important that he shoots it when he's open, and I think it was just a byproduct of the matchup that they had to start the game.
Joe, is there like an emotional lift that KP provides, just his energy, the way he engages with the crowd, the fan base, that you guys maybe benefited from as well, besides for all the on-court things that he does?
Yeah, no question. I think just he's a high-level personality. But I think anytime obviously we built an identity with him last year, and I think the guys were excited to get him back. We're ready to have him back. And so between his personality and I think each guy likes playing with him because of just how he plays and the pressure that we could take off each other. So I definitely felt that.
There's obviously been plenty of emphasis on his ability on offense, but how much does he help you guys in terms of his ability to protect the rim and to be versatile at that end defensively?
Had 11 blocks tonight. Yeah, it helps.
Joe, you mentioned the offensive spacing he provided. Obviously, you guys were playing well without him, and then he comes back. The guys had the experience of playing with him all of last season, but was that something you had to talk about, sort of like don't lose what has been working before versus sort of integrating him back into the offense and the defense?
We didn't mention one word about that.
How pleased were you with the way that they sort of just seamlessly like transitioned from the way?
I think it's a credit to them in the locker room and just picking up right where they left off from that standpoint. But didn't really have to talk about it. Just the guys know who they are. But it's a credit to them just understanding the team basketball and how I think having him back is an example of how the guys positively impact each other. I mean, not just him. If anybody misses that amount of time, you're going to miss them. And when they come back, it's important to have them.
So before the game, Ty Lue said, when you guys are hitting threes, they can't get discouraged. They can't get, they just got to keep coming. And then obviously Van Gundy knows what you guys are going to do. What kind of chess game is it when they know what you're going to do and you just do it anyway? I mean, is that kind of like that mano y mano you like, that kind of like we're better at what we do than you are at stopping us?
I think when we're at our best, you have to have an understanding of, this is what we do. When we're at our best, we do this. And how long can we stay at the best version of ourselves? It's important. And then, with the KP back, you have an opportunity to go to post-ups. We got backdoor cut for Jason. So it just adds different layers to what you do. But at the end of the day, we're trying to be the best version of ourselves more than other people. And we have an understanding of what that looks like when we're at our best. And, we're slowly getting there.
Payton had a couple steals and some effective possessions against James Harden. What did you see from him as an on-ball defender tonight?
Just his ball pressure. Again, it's another way everyone talks about the shooting, but I think he's really just grown as a player over the last few years to where he finds different ways to impact the game. The shooting's an obvious one, but his ball pressure and his defense has impacted games, this year, last year in particular. So he's just continuing to grow as a player.
So there you have it, Bobby, Joe Mazzulla. The first 5, 6, 7 questions about Kristaps Porzingis. It makes sense. Never heard anybody be less excited to have, this unicorn join the team again.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're asking Joe, state secrets. But look, forget about Mazzulla and forget about the Celtics. Hiding the news from everybody. It doesn't matter. At home, you woke up, but this was, one of the first things that you heard in the day is Porzingis is coming back, and immediately every Celtics fan is probably thinking the same thing, like, okay, watch the F out, everybody. And man, you got it. You got it in game 1. And that's kind of been the vibe, right, Bobby? Okay, they're playing great, but just wait until blank,
Right.
And in game 1 where and again, you don't see any, maybe there's rust in the shot and this and that, but did he look to you? I mean, you're there, you're watching the whole game and you're watching him closely, physically limited or anything like that? He didn't even look winded to me. He looked like he was in decent shape too.
Yeah, decent shape, I'd say. Hands on the knees a couple of times. Played the
It's going to be hard.
stints,
That's always the last thing to come. Right.
Which was more than I expected, those 6-minute stints in the first and second quarters there. So he got through those well. I thought looked pretty good in both of them. And then third quarter, they kind of staggered out a little bit there and get him that short stint at the beginning of the fourth there. So, they got through it. And I do wonder, he's obviously not hyping it up there. He's not too excited, as you mentioned there, John. I do wonder, I asked him pregame just how much we'll see of him early on. Will they keep him out of some games? Will they manage him? Obviously, there's 2 back-to-backs next week as well, so he'll miss those games for sure. But, no real minutes limit here. I feel like the 22s him stepping out of a 20-point game at that point. So, does he go 24 or 25 if they needed to him there? It looked like he probably could have. He only played the 2 minutes at the start of the fourth there, and the game was pretty much over by then. But there's a game where Celtics dropped an avalanche of threes on them. He helped with the rim protection. They were able to get Kayada into some roles that I felt like kind of mirrored Porzingis's, which I thought were interesting there too. And like I said, 2 7-footers on the game for the whole night. That's dominant stuff. I guess the only thing we're going to wait to see is whether Porzingis' 3 comes back at a high level. Obviously, he missed the first couple he took there. They got him 4 fast ones, as Joe talked about there at the presser. So, that'll come. The post-ups, nice to see those later. You didn't see a ton of them early on in the game, but, we pretty much saw Jimmy Porzingis go through every step of the way, all the things he does, the rim protection, the threes, and then to the post-ups later, and even the passing. Joe mentioned the backdoor to Tatum there. That is a good look that you don't get to without Porzingis usually.
I'll say this. I don't care what Porzingis did out there today. Just the fact that we get to see his beautiful face.
All right. That's what you're looking for.
Is enough for me out in the court. I mean, out in the court specifically. I will clarify. I want to see him out in the court, and I did see him out there. You're not going to get game 1 NBA. You know what I mean? Like, we're not talking playoff Porzingis yet, but he doesn't need to be. He just needs to get back out there, get his feet wet. The rim protection tonight was already the best we've seen all year in the Celtics team, and we only saw it for a few minutes. But that's why me and John were pulling our hair out, or what he's got left to pull out. Because we didn't want to talk about the center position until we got Porzingis back on the court. Why are we wasting our time talking about Kayada and Luke and all this stuff? Bobby's had it. He's had enough. He's like, I'm out of here. But no, we didn't want to talk about that stuff because it didn't matter until Porzingis got back. If it's still a problem 15 games into Porzingis.
You're not going anywhere, Bobby. You're going to sit here and you're going to listen to this.
You're going to, Bobby, we want you to hear this.
Yeah.
Just repeat after me. No, I'm just kidding. No, but it's just good to get him back out there, and it's going to be a little bit of baby steps here and there. I thought they handled him well tonight, with the minutes that he played, and good vibes all around. I mean, this was a blowout, right? I mean, this was not a competitive game against a team that's supposed to be competitive, and that's why I said to Bobby last night, I was like, Bobby, is this Celtics win over the Timberwolves? Is that considered a big win? And he said, no, not really. I mean, the Celtics make these games look like they're not big games when the schedule came out. These were games that were considered big games, but and again, last night was obviously close, and it has more to do with the Timberwolves and the Celtics. But tonight was a different story. The Celtics just looked like the better team, and again, that's without Horford, so you're still not at full strength tonight. But just getting Porzingis back in there, Christmas came early. Thanksgiving came early. I'm thankful for one thing right now, and it's Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. And Jimmy nailed it. And we discussed, he's a little gassed, near the end, hands on his knees, and maybe didn't get up for a lob there, and that's fine. But he looks like a version of Kristaps Porzingis, and that's all you wanted to see.
Right.
And he's back.
Not the flame throwing from the finals, but he looks like himself.
Yeah, he looks like himself.
Right.
And
Right.
And immediately everything that he brings was available again. It's back on the menu. And that's kind of, to Jimmy's point, that's why I've just had no huge interest in getting into some of that stuff, because it's wow, the Celtics can't, aren't able to score at a great clip without Tatum and Brown. Yeah, no shit. Just once those guys come back, they're going to do that. So it's, again, you're going through the year 14-3 without Porzingis playing, and the grade is still incomplete. Any other team starting out this way with these numbers right now, you're like, oh, this roster right here could win the championship. Then you add somebody to it, and that's what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
It's that Celtics fans are walking with their chests puffed out right now because, Bobby, I mean, look, we did talk about this as well. Forget about talking about lack of rim protection during this stretch. Before the season, or even in the off season, right, this is going to be a problem. How are they going to sustain this? How are they going to be without being him for this long? And we thought that absence might have been closer to 25 games instead of 17. Fine, right? Not only fine, I mean, you can't do better than they did during this stretch here, 14-3. Yeah, that's right. All the way down, Jimmy.
I'm gonna have to button up here.
I mean, I
All the
don't.
way down.
I'm hot. Like I'm sweating.
Bobby, what aren't you
that's
happy
what
about?
Kristaps does to me.
No, I don't.
What aren't,
I mean, I
what
don't
aren't
think.
you happy
I don't
about?
think it was. I don't think it was fine. I mean, Joe even talked about their efforts on that end, and Brad, came on the broadcast today and said we can probably play a lot better than we have so far.
But that's what I mean. Is like you're right. Like grading their performance based on what they're capable of. They're playing B- basketball most of the year.
And
no question about it.
And Porzingis is going to be a big difference there. But you didn't have Kate in the playoffs last year. You didn't have Porzingis for most of the playoffs, and you still defended at a level that you expect to defend at.
What was the first part of that sentence? Say that again.
You weren't using Cato last postseason.
Well,
so you didn't have
that one. That one.
Yeah, you didn't have that extra potential rim protection boost there during the playoffs. You're mostly just rolling Horford out there and, a little bit of Cornet and Tillman. But, it's not just they have Porzingis. The rim protection is great. They don't have Porzingis. The rim protection stinks. Like, I'm not letting them off the hook on that. But, he comes back and it's going to be better.
But I will say this, Bobby, and that, and then I'll turn it back over to you guys. But like, it's interesting again, if you're looking at this from rest of the NBA and just from a Celtics fan perspective, it's fair to consider that the Celtics who won the championship last year without Kristaps Porzingis started this season 14-3 without Kristaps Porzingis, and also added a guy you just mentioned, Neemias Queta, making contributions that you didn't expect, and probably another like 25 to 30% worth of Peyton Pritchard, and added the sixth man of the year.
Right, and that's what did it. And Tatum reaching another level.
And that's always the thing is like when you see teams getting better, we always talked about the Celtics are, they've got the stars, but like other teams that like sustain over time or like keep getting better year over year, they've got other guys who are coming up and developing, and the Celtics haven't had that. So it really is an extra boon. Like you always knew exactly what you had with the Celtics every year. You began the season, these guys can play. I don't know about these guys. We'll see what you get. And you're getting a lot more than you thought out of a couple of players here in really big, important roles. And if that carries through, it's again, you've added without adding, just plus to this team that steamrolled the NBA and won a championship last year. So again, if you're a Celtics fan, you've got to be like Jimmy coming onto the show, like just over the moon to see Porzingis out here and doing that. And then the rest of the league's got to be like, shit,
like you said, the bonus is that they were forced to develop some of these other guys. Like it wouldn't have happened with the full ride. And like, that's what we kind of said years ago with, Nesmith, right? Like they weren't forced to develop him because they were healthy and he wasn't going to, get the playing time over the guys who are out there in the court, Bobby. But then it all changed, and with obviously with Porzingis, it was a different story too, with him being in and out of the lineup. But having the, like you said, 2 7-footers out there, different look. But what Porzingis gives you, and I mean, you're gonna scream it, defense. He doesn't need to go out. He doesn't need to go out there and drop 25 points a game. There's gonna be a night where he does, and that's gravy. But it's what he gives you on the defensive side of things. It's his ability to score in different ways. It's going to allow them to be less. And I know he is a three-point shooter as well, but he's also one of the best, low post scorers in the league. So just having him out in the court is going to allow you to do a little bit more differently than what you're doing right now. You're not going to be maybe talking about being so 3-point heavy when you have a guy out there that can score in such a number of different ways. And again, it's not going to happen overnight. But it's just the way he's going to be able to do things. Who else stood out to you? We're not done with Porzingis. We're gonna get Noa on here. Noah's at the game along with you, Bobby, and we'll get her take on
and
stuff.
she's standing by here. But the two guys, obviously, like it was the Porzingis game, but Pritchard comes into this game and starts 4-7 from 3, which you just feel like is going to happen every night at this point. And Queta, like just a ridiculous Queta game where they needed him, right? You didn't have Cornet, no Horford, so they needed a longer stint from Queta, especially with Porzingis probably a little limited there. And he was amazing. They ran offense through him in the high post probably more than we'd seen all season. Defensively, he's rotating off Kevin Porter, and I love the way they utilized him there. And I keep saying it, like him as a roamer, I hate the Rob comparison, but that is the one thing that I think they're similar at is they're so good roaming off a guy that you can ignore on offense and, being able to cause havoc around the rim. He looks so good in that role, and they got to that tonight. So, this is one of the best Kayada games all year. I feel like after a game where he didn't play, it looked like he was maybe starting to get lost a little bit there.
Bobby, I think you said you're going to switch it out with Noah. Before you go, though, I got a couple of people asking, is that double? Are we going double turtleneck tonight? Because if it is, I think it's the first time in turtleneck history.
Yep.
We go double turtlenecks?
We got the red one. We got the beige sweater.
Did you just put one on? You were like, I'm about to.
Well, this is a sweater
fuck
here.
Me up. Did you go to Filene's? You were just like, fuck me up. I'm like, let's get all the turtlenecks.
Yeah, this is a.
It's a sweater. It is a sweater,
yeah,
but it's going.
It's a sweater
pretty
over the
high.
top. Yeah,
okay.
Which
I like it. I think it
as you
good.
know, I enjoy.
Fall colors. I think it's a good look.
All right, I'll circle back after the locker room, Jimmy.
Yeah, you're gonna jump on with us after.
Yep, I'll be back. Noah's right here, and she'll be on 1 second.
Okay. He kind of did that a little bit fast. I'm gonna do an ad read right now. So we're gonna just fire it up. I think I'm only one. Am I the only one producing? I don't see. This isn't great because there's no B-roll, but we're just gonna go with it. Let's go with game time. I can do game time. Let me just pull up the banner here. This is great TV, isn't it? Game time. Guys, download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Game Time app is legit. I said this last night. My brother texted me last night, and he goes, hey, my buddies are in town. We're trying to go to the Celtics game. They have no tickets. What's the app that they use? I go, Game Time. Use the code CLNS. They got $20 off that game that they went to last night. And this was a good one tonight, too. You got the Porzingis game. Nobody knew that going in. Actually, not completely true. If you watched the show last night, our very own Noa Dalzell kind of sort of broke the news that Porzingis was going to start or was going to return in the next game. And give me the thumbs up, Noah, if you're ready to go here. And we'll get you on. The one and only. This is the real newsbreaker is Noah here, because if Amit was here, I would tell him to play back the clip, Noah. And I know we're going to finish the read, and we will. But she did break the story, and then today it gets announced Porzingis is back in the game. I guarantee you the ticket prices shot up around the world, but if you're on Game Time, you got a very competitive price. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Noah, we had it here first. We
had it here.
We had it here first. The vibes were high last night. You came on and told everybody that you were just feeling like something was gonna happen, and it did. And so we got to give you credit. Shams won't do it. He's too much, he's too much about Shams, but we'll do it. We'll give you your flowers. You broke the news.
So here's the thing. And also, this is so weird to me. I'm using Bobby's setup right now because I left my computer at home. I showed up to TD Garden with no computer. I've been literally just tweeting all game. Haven't written a word.
Do not go to Bobby's browser history, but let's just keep it.
So apologies. This is like the overhead mic. This is so weird to me, but in any
you
case,
didn't leave it on a plane at least. Baby steps.
No, I wish I left it on. So in any case, when I saw the report today, I can't take any credit. I have zero sources with Porzingis. I'm not even gonna lie.
That out.
But what I will say is I had such a good gut feeling about this. Like, I came back from Brooklyn and I was obsessed with the concept that Porzingis was going to be back within a week. And it was literally just from watching him on the bench. And I have a pretty good track record now with these calls. So I'm going to have myself on the back.
We're going to ride the vibes. We're going to keep like forcing you to give us like the vibe take, because typically it's right.
Yeah. And last year in the playoffs, I called him coming back for Game 5. I wasn't on the show back then, but I called it on my own podcast. So
I believe you. That's why we got you on the show.
I think I look at KP and I can just kind of tell like what's coming up next for him, So
there's something.
That was awesome though. When is Luke going to be back? Luke will be back. Give him a week. He'll be back in the next 2 games. This is not a long-term absence. I saw him pregame. Vibes were giving returning soon.
Okay, we'll clip that and we'll post that everywhere. News was broken here. Tell us, you were there. What was the reception like for Porzingis on the jumbotron, checking in the, like his name getting announced? Like, give us the first person account.
Yeah. So basically, I showed up really early to this game because I was like, I want to catch all the vibes with Porzingis and just see what's happening here. There was a lot of energy in the building from the jump. I will say, I feel like there was a lot of buildup for him coming up for warmups, and he never came out. Like, he was the last person to come out, and so there was a very long wait. And Pritchard came out, and like reporters were coming out one by one. And so eventually, when he came out, it wasn't like as hype as I expected. Honestly, this was for his warmups. And then obviously the big anticipation was what was going to be his individual like entrance, like the WWE style entrance that we had already saw in the finals. And
Sure.
I don't want to be a hater because there was a lot of energy in this building, absolutely. But I wanted more. Like, I was like, let's turn the lights off. I wanted a little bit more of a production. I wanted the lights off. I wanted
You went like Tyson. You went like a boxing match kind of entrance.
Yeah, so it was good. It was good. There was energy. I think that just this team needed a boost. Like, the fan base needed a boost, which is crazy to say because what were they, 14-3 entering this game? So like, they've been winning. But I feel like you needed something. I think you needed something that was a little bit more, just something new, some new energy. I asked Joe about
yeah,
the
it can
postgame.
get stale. You want to get creative, you know.
And he just connects with the fan base in a way that I don't know many other players on the team does. Like, he interacts with everybody. He does like the fist bump, the cheering, the chanting. And so I think it just brings another dynamic to this, just to the building. And so it was awesome that his debut was at home. It was a lot of fun to just see his energy, see his passion, his like happiness. He's been so happy the last few weeks. That's part of why I was like, he's going to come back soon. But yeah, his engagement was through the roof today. And then I thought he looked really healthy. That was the big takeaway. And I knew he would. Like, they weren't going to bring him back if he wasn't 100%.
Right.
And this isn't the finals, right? In the finals, we were like, what percent of him is available to us right now? Right now, it was like he's 100% back. He didn't make his threes, but I thought that he looked phenomenal in those 23 minutes that he played.
And what I said to the guys when I jumped on, because it almost didn't really matter what he looked like to some extent, right? I mean, it was just wanting to see him out there because you know what he's capable of. You know what he's coming back from is not the type of injury that's going to prevent him from being who he is. So, yeah, he doesn't need to go out there and drop 30 points in the first. He doesn't need to like blow the roof off the building. He just needs to get back out there. And the stuff that you have to kind of watch to see his effect is what he was doing on the defensive side of things. Being able to just be a capable body and a capable presence in the paint on the defensive end and some rim protection that's much needed on this team. Absolutely. And that's why we weren't hitting the panic button when you looked at the numbers and you saw, opposing teams, what they were doing on the, whether it's the offensive glass or what they were doing at the rim in the paint, because the guy wasn't out there yet. And in the meantime, you were able to develop Kayada a little bit more. You're able to give Cornette some minutes and hopefully build a little bit of confidence in those guys, which I think you have done. And not just in them, but in their teammates, letting their teammates know, hey, like when Kayada's out there, we can win games. Like, we can outscore the opponent. We can defend. Like, we can do all the things that we need to do, even if we don't have our starting five out there. And there are going to be points throughout the season. Tonight, Horford wasn't out, where they are going to still need to dig deep into that bench, regardless of the healthy players on this roster. So that's what you were able to do for 17 games. And now this is Thanksgiving a few days early, because we're very thankful that Porzingis was able to come back ahead of time. We are going to get Noah's Thanksgiving takes later on in the show towards the end, and they are going to be hot takes, I would think, because she's coming from a little bit of a different perspective on the Thanksgiving front. But we were talking about maybe a Christmas return for Porzingis, and we're getting it, 3 days, 4 days, whatever day it is, 3 days before Thanksgiving. So you don't need to just throw this guy out here and play 35 minutes a game. He's back ahead of schedule. I think he showed everybody what he needed to show, is that, he's still Kristaps Porzingis. And Tillman kind of hinted at it when they went and played one-on-one, against the main or with their main teammates. Kind of thought at that point, well, if he's at the point where he's going up against NBA guys and they're going hard theoretically, then he's ready to play. It's just a matter of when do they want to make the announcement. And you're not going to get that info from Joe. Clearly the team's going to hold that very close to the vest. But when the vibes are vibing, like there's no denying, is what I like to say when it comes to us trying to figure out when or if Porzingis was ready to be playing, and it is now. Were you able to listen to Joe, or like did you catch any post game?
Yeah, I was with Joe. was in there for post game, I asked him about the vibes, fittingly, about just the emotional lift that the team he provides the team. But yeah, I mean, he quoted the fact they had 11 blocks, only 2 were Porzingis, but he just changes the complexion of things. There were multiple plays that weren't blocks, that were just kind of those rim altering shots. Which, by the way, there needs to be a stat. I want it in the box score. I want it. Whatever it is, where it's not a block, but you clearly are the reason for the miss around the rim, because Derek White has a few of those every night, and they're cooler than blocks because they're more likely that you're going to get the rebound than a block out of bounds. That's like, it looks fun, but
right.
I want that in the box score. I'm going to start keeping track of those. But Porzingis had a bunch of those in the first quarter, and I was like, this is exactly the point, that he comes in and he changes the complexion right off the bat. And then Kayada.
What are we calling them? Like hockey blocks? Like, what are we going to call them here? Like, if they're not. Because it's not like it's like a hockey assist, but you don't really.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out. We'll come up with something.
We'll figure it out.
We do need a stat for that for sure.
Yeah, so we'll come up with something, but that's the main thing that I noticed, that he just right off the bat, even when he didn't hit his first few shots. No, it's not even altered shots though. Like, that's what I'm getting at, but it's more dramatic than that. It's like suddenly you're airballing a layup. That needs to count as something else. So. We'll see. But in any case, I think it doesn't. I don't want to say it solves the rim protection stuff single-handedly, because he's just one guy. He's just one guy that's not going to play the entire night. But you feel for the opposing team, because this felt a little bit unfair here at points. And then Pritchard did his thing. Sam Hauser did his thing. So yeah, it was. I think Celtics fans were waiting for this game. This was the kind of game that people were.
Did you see that?
No.
I'm getting like heckled by the chats right
Wait,
now.
What is Jimmy Tunes? Is that your band?
There's a lot you need to learn about me, but that's for another show. This is about Kristaps tonight. We'll keep it on KP.
Okay.
Jimmy Tunes is my alter ego, yes. To be honest. If you haven't heard about him, you will.
I haven't. No.
That's weird, because pretty much.
I'm constantly. Anyway. I feel like I learn a little bit more about the lore every episode.
You will. You will. All right, let's talk about your other guy. Talking about Pete Party, Mr. Peyton Pritchard himself.
Listen, it's getting hard for me, honestly, because I'm getting all this stuff about, like, that's Bobby's Luke. Your Pritchard is Bobby's Luke, which I think I'm honestly okay with that.
No, we wouldn't. No, because the difference is Pritchard. There's justification to it, at least. Like, there is actual real, like, everybody can see to at least an extent what you can see. Whereas Bobby, he's like wants to be.
No, but I was on this Pritchard train when he was getting. I was on this Pritchard train when he was getting DNPs though, so.
Okay.
It's kind of like it aged really well for me. That's why I can't shut up about it. But his 3-pointers, I mean, the momentum shifts that they cause, like this. This game was a perfect example. But the fact that that's not even the big story. He had 20 points tonight, and it was kind of casual. He does this all the time now. ESPN today came out with their internal rankings of 6th player of the year, and he's by far the front runner. He got 55% of first place votes. It's obviously really early, but the fact that that's the situation here, we knew that everything was going to be great for the Celtics this year as long as they could stay healthy. And all of that was without Pritchard really being like a major contributor. He's a reliable backup point guard. But he has emerged as so much more than that. I was just talking to my brother. He's at this game today. And we were talking about how good this team was at halftime. And I was saying, I think the big storyline, besides for the fact that it's more winning, more of the same, is Pritchard. And just how much he's been able to impact this team and how much he's been able to take a massive leap from last season to this season. And on the defensive end too, I mean, he was guarding James Harden, and at points I was like, this is really good defense on a Hall of Fame basketball player who's still playing really high level basketball, who's bigger than him. And he was doing a really good job disrupting him. Ball pressure, Joe Mazzulla talked about it post game, but that's the other side, not just the 3-pointers, but also that side of things.
You believe with this, PP made a great case for 6th man of the year tonight?
Every night. Yeah, I mean, he's been so consistent. It's the second quarter. He just takes over. Yeah, I mean, I have my all-star tweet. I literally have to find it every single game now and come in with a quote tweet.
Somebody's retweeting it like randomly every night.
And I will say there's a couple of replies on there that aged so poorly. They're all like, 'cause my tweet was, I'm going to die on this hill. Peyton Pritchard has all-star potential. And all the replies were like, yo, normally you have good takes, but like you're dying on that hill, or like you always have bad takes. But they were all against me, and now I go back every time and I see that. And I know he's not an all-star; he's not in the all-star conversation. But I think the fact that he's made this leap from that was like in March, so who knows what he's capable of? I'm not putting a ceiling on it.
That's true. You actually think he's going to go beyond the 6th man of the year at some point? I think
At some
you're
point,
on record.
yeah.
I think you're on record of that as well. So that might be another tweet that we dig up someday.
It all works.
About the usual suspects like Tatum, for example. I mean, we're talking about Porzingis, we're talking about Pritchard. You still needed your go-to guys in this one. A quiet, bit of a quiet, when you consider Tatum games, but efficient, 7 of 15. Not one of those nights where he takes 15 threes, but 15 field goals overall. 20 points for him, 9 rebounds. These are somewhat pedestrian numbers when you talk about a guy like Tatum who is in the MVP race. But what's he able to do for them on a night like tonight? And obviously, it's a little different. Like the Celtics go up by so much. The game kind of changes a little bit, and you're not probably aggressive the same way as you're going to be. And like Brown had said in the past, like there's going to be nights where they let other guys do run the show, whether that's Pritchard or at some point it's going to be Porzingis. But
yeah,
kind of feel like one of those nights where they just kind of went into cruise control early.
Yeah, I mean, I think Tatum did a great job tonight. I mean, it was one of those games where Tatum wasn't looking to score 30. I think he was trying to get guys involved. Surprised he only finished with 4 assists because I honestly felt like he did more than that. But Jaylen Brown had that stretch where he scored 9 in a row. Derek White had a stretch where he was on fire. Pritchard had his. And I think what makes Tatum and what makes him so great and what makes this team so great is that he's okay with taking 15 shots. I mean, he's their best player, and this was a big night. And, that was the case. So I liked what we saw from him. I think that this was a classic case of like every single player did their part, and next thing you know, you won by 30, and they really dominated this team from start to finish. It was one of those quintessential games that I think the fan base was really excited about and really kind of eager for. I got Bobby here, so he can. Yeah, I think he's going to tap in for me in a moment here.
Tap in. All right. We're doing computer.
Which honestly, I don't know what it is. I think me and Bobby have different shaped heads because this is like not staying on my head. I don't know. It might be my head. I think it's actually me that's uneven. I feel like
personally designed just to fit Bobby's head. He had to order that one.
I think one of my ears is higher than the other, and this is a reminder about that. Okay.
All right. So what we'll do
I'll be back.
Yeah. What we'll do is we'll take you off. Thanks for coming on, Bobby. Do your thing. I'm gonna struggle through another read. We'll do prize picks. Amit, hit me with the prize picks B-roll if you are there. Thank you, baby Jesus, for that happening. What's prize picks, guys? Prize picks is the best place to get real money, sports action, with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. First time I played Prize Picks, I absolutely nailed it. But it is a game of skill. Absolutely. It's fun though. I will tell you that if you're a sports fan, this is the one for you. Bobby, give me a thumbs up if you're already on. There you are, bud. You can now, like I said, you can win 100 times your money right now on Prize Picks with as little as 4 correct picks. It's the best way to get action on sports in over 30 states, including California, Florida, Georgia, and Texas. And everyone's like, well, why do I care? Oh, dude, we get people watch this show from all over the country, all over the world. I guarantee you there's somebody in Texas right now being like, oh, that's sweet. I didn't realize I could download Prize Picks. Well, you can, guy from Texas. And I know that because we ship hard hats out all over the world, by the way, if people want to question. It's the best place to get real money sports action. So join over 10 million users and sign up today. Get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. It also offers weekly promotions that can lead to big payouts like Taco Tuesday, Bobby. You're not even paying attention to my ad reads, man. My ad reads are elite and you don't even pay attention.
I'm listening.
Tuesday, you better be. Each Tuesday, Prize Picks discounts select player projections up to 25% to provide even more value for your lineups. Taco Tuesday, maybe a little mango habanero, like chicken mango habanero taco, like pulled chicken. like in a soft shell with like, I don't know, cheese, guac, sour cream. I don't know, just for an example. But anyways, that's one of their promos that they do. They download the app today and use code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's download the app today and use the code CLNS to get $5 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Mic drop. This
Amazing.
microphone drop. Just like that. That's what we do here. All right, let's reset. I feel like I'm said 1 billion words over the last 5 minutes, so let's just reset. I got Noah's take on the KP entrance. Let's get your take. Like vibes, reaction, excitement, like
So
fireworks, confetti. What do we got? Hit me with it.
I liked how he did it. Calm, casual, not too many theatrics, and my favorite part was the coffee. Now, I don't
Was the
understand
what?
how he had a coffee in his hand as he walked out of the
Right.
tunnel.
Okay. Got you.
So he's
That's
a
a
big
good question.
coffee guy.
Is he a big coffee guy, or are you just assuming that? Because
Yeah, no, I've talked to him about it. He loves espresso. He gets like some special beans, I think.
I'll
from-
say this, not to cut you off, but was it a hot coffee?
There's a hot coffee. So
Then
that's the thing.
It's like a wild move before like an
I-
athletic event.
I don't understand how he does it, but he does it often. And he also, I think, at one point last year was drinking like a soda along the sideline before the game. So
Some of these guys, man,
pretty
like,
strong, pretty
doesn't even
strong
matter.
stomach. Pretty
Yeah,
strong stomach.
apparently.
for
I
Porzingis.
don't know anyone. That's like kind of like borderline serial killer stuff to be like drinking a hot coffee before going out there and playing an
But
NBA game. I mean, obviously
I-
it wasn't right before, right? We're talking about like walking in. What are you talking, like maybe 90 what? How many minutes before? Roughly?
So he came in right before. It was like 7:28. So he came out about like 5-6 minutes before the game.
But when
he
did
didn't
you
come out
see
with
the
the rest of the
coffee?
team. Oh, they were showing up on the jumbotron.
Got you. Well, I wasn't
Him
there.
walking through the tunnel. Yeah. So
Yeah.
you could see him coming. He didn't come out with the rest of the team. I don't know if he
I
was
see.
maybe brewing that coffee.
That could be it. That could be it.
Friends, this, you know,
Oh, here he is.
one-on-one. So I was always like asking the medical staff to do more. But yeah, I you know, was still smart, and we completed all the stages to get to this point. And I told them, once I'm, you know, if you guys give me the green light and I can start playing, there's, you know, I want to do it as soon as possible. So yeah, that was it. And you know, got here maybe even a month early, you know, and it's good to be back out there.
Kristaps, as you were watching over the past few weeks, what did you see in terms of stuff you could do to help this group go up even another level from what it's been? And how did it feel once you got out there in terms of your wind and your, you know, your rhythm and getting into the flow of things?
Yeah, honestly, I felt better than I expected. But I mean, obviously, the first wind is pretty crazy. You know, lungs burning, legs burning, everything. But after that, it was decent, and just the normal. No, like even on the couple of lobs, like JB threw me the lob, Peyton threw me the lob. Like both of them, I had like flat tire, like crazy. Like didn't get up at all. It was good to be back out there. And what was the other part you said?
What did you see in terms of watching this team? Obviously, they've been off to a great start, but where did you see areas where you could maybe?
Yeah, no, of course, the obvious. No, like obviously when we play with like say Nimi, he's more in the dunker, you know. So obviously when I'm out there, I can create more space. The obvious stuff and yeah, but overall, just my shooting ability to create more space, rim protection. I wanted to bring that, you know, and make sure we're like at a good level there, and honestly, just play my game. You know, these guys were like looking for me early, trying to get me going, as they always are, and yeah, just grateful to be back out there.
Kristaps, you just mentioned it. Like they looked to you very early in the game. They got you a bunch of stuff, shots at the start. These guys have been playing really well before you got back. How natural did it feel to be back on the court with these guys? Obviously, you played with them all year, but they have been playing, you know, at a high level before you got back. How easy was it to sort of transition for you and the rest of the guys?
Yeah, honestly, for me at least, it felt like nothing. Like just boom, I'm back in the lineup, and I think we already, honestly, it was already a pretty smooth transition last season when I started playing for the first time. And then once we found a little bit of rhythm, like figure out each other's games and stuff, it's been very natural. Even, with me, let's say, not playing back-to-backs, guys know my game now, and even me, like, being out now for a little bit, beginning of the season, it was very natural for me to be back out in the starting lineup, and that's it pretty much.
Did you have any conversations with any of the guys on the team, sort of like how you guys would play or anything leading into today?
Not really. We don't over communicate these things. We just go out there and play. Honestly, we have, in my opinion, like the best coaching staff, and they give us like freedom to play the way to our strengths, and we just go out there and hoop.
Just wanted to ask you about the Jalen alley-oop. At what point did you realize that was going to be open there in that play? And then you said you got a flat tire there.
100%.
Were you kind of like chuckling at yourself? Like, what's going through your head after you guys and throw that one down?
The Jalen one, I saw it like from a mile away. I was like, okay, boom, he's going to throw it for sure. I pointed a little bit to give him the confidence, like it's there. And then as he threw it, like that one was not as flat as the Payton one. The Payton one was crazy. Like, I don't even know how I got it over the rim. And that one, as I was running back, I was like, phew, like shaking my head and stuff. But it's like part of the process, no? Like, especially first game back, a little bit like timing on the jump, catching a flat tire maybe here and there and stuff. It's normal.
Kristaps, what kind of test? I mean, Zubac's a big physical guy.
Yeah.
Was that a good test for you in your first game? A dude is going to pound you and kind of give you maybe the workout you needed?
Yeah. No, definitely a big physical dude. No, we knew that they were going to go to his post-ups. But what I was like saying to myself and to Nimi, like, we have to like work early with him. No, like, don't let him get the ball as easy. Don't make him like feel comfortable from the beginning. He was very efficient, so we can for sure do a better job. And but yeah, that was a good matchup for first game back. Obviously, I didn't shoot the ball well. Like, that kind of a matchup is, for me, it's like, man, these guys we play one pick and roll, and I'm wide open to shoot a three. I just didn't knock it down tonight, but those kind of games are a lot of times the points come very easy to me. So from that perspective, there was like, I can definitely improve. But especially second half, I feel like I turned up the physicality with him even more, make him work even more, and we're having more success.
When you think back to like Game 5, what was kind of the mental framework required over the previous time? Like, it's an unusual situation. You're going to play in this game and then be out for like months.
Yeah.
What kind of mental framework did that require, and just what was that general process like for you?
Yeah, good question. Honestly, I don't know. It's like, I don't even think about it too much. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I don't like overthink that stuff. Like, if the medical staff I can say I can play, I'll play. Like, I don't know. I almost like, I always almost try to be as much as I can be in that moment. And then once that moment passes, like, okay, what's the next step? And then I'm like, okay, I gotta get a surgery, fix the leg, But right there, especially, like, we had to be so locked in, so focused on the goal that nothing else really matters. So for me, it was also pretty easy to like turn off all the, future events that were going to happen.
Yeah, I want to go back too, because the way the injury was communicated to us, it was a very rare thing. How much have you learned about your ankle in this time?
Yeah.
And how intense was the rehab? What did you have to do to get back?
Yeah. Honestly, I would say like it was one of the easiest rehabs for me. The only thing was that I had to stay off the ankle for, was it 4 or 6 weeks? So it was tough, it's just on one leg with the scooter, like can't get up a stairs. Like it was, so it was a little bit difficult from that perspective. But once that moment passed and I was able to walk, it was honestly felt pretty natural. Just when I was playing that Game 5, that's when like it didn't feel natural. Like, you could feel something is off. But once once Dr. O'Malley fixed it, honestly, it felt supernatural and just needed time to heal and get stronger. And I would say it was one of my easiest rehabs.
It seems like you've been feeling ready for a while now. Coming out, how do you feel physically after this game, and then going forward now, whether it's minutes limits, like back-to-backs, what are the expectations there going forward? Are you kind of free right now, or is it kind of still a day-by-day thing?
Yeah, I think it's pretty open. Not any crazy limitations even tonight. And yeah, it was good that we had a pretty good lead, and obviously that Joe didn't play me more than the minutes allowed that we had. Yeah, what was the second part? Yeah, probably same schedule that we had last season, no? So
Uh-oh. We lose him? Oh! Well, we don't want that, do we? So we'll get out of there. Let's get this guy out of here. What the F?
That last part's big there. I wasn't sure, Jimmy.
There we go.
Whether we'd
cool colors.
See him consistently coming back there. And obviously he indicated there at the very end, probably the most important thing, that there wasn't much of a minutes limit tonight. I think he could have gone further into that fourth quarter if he wanted to. So it almost feels like they dodged the bullet here, right? That surgery, that injury, you didn't know too much about it. Sounded pretty serious, but seamless surgery, fast recovery.
I love that he said easiest rehab he's ever had. That's
I couldn't believe that. So, I said this to Noah earlier. We went live after they announced that he was going to play tonight. I have no concerns about him coming back from this. I don't think anyone should have much of a worry about him coming back from this. Once you're back, as Dr. Flynn told me over the summer, I think, our friend here at the show, you're back from this thing. There's not any lingering concern about stability or re-injury or that sort of thing. This thing's just healed now. The worry is that with his history, something else happens here. So that's why you're sitting him in the back-to-backs. That's why you're managing him as well as you can the rest of the way. But you can't prevent new stuff from popping up.
You can't. And you can't live that way. You can't play that way. You can't think that way. You just got to go out there and assume that what's in the past is in the past. He's not playing on something right now that is going to make him more susceptible to re-injuring it. There's no reason to believe that. He said it himself, I don't want to quote him, but he basically expressed how much trust he has in this Celtics training staff and in these doctors. So it's great to see a happy Porzingis out there. At the podium, he looks, confident. He looks healthy, happy, ready to go. The same guy that we that's the great thing about him, is when he's feels like he's always so just what's the word?
Nonchalant?
No. Well, sure, that too, but just thankful in a way. I know Thanksgiving, maybe that's just on my mind, but he's just so happy to be a part of this,
Appreciative.
Appreciative. That's probably the word. Thank you. My brain isn't working. Appreciative of just the situation that he's in. Obviously winning the title, being a guy that's been in some really, really bad situations over his NBA career. A lot of labels tossed on him, including bust, and then started to turn things around last season in Washington, and then now here in Boston really has changed the narrative on who he is as a player. And I think there was probably some people out there that questioned the type of player he was, maybe off the court, locker room type guy. So certainly not us.
The most surprising thing.
Certainly not us. We wouldn't do that. We never did that. Never called him a dink.
Well, we just didn't know. We didn't know. And you heard things. You saw what he did in other stops, but he obviously matured and grew. And I think the appreciative label's fair.
Thank you.
He went through some struggles there in those two stops, and those teams certainly didn't help him. Those organizations weren't the best. And there were teammates involved, other star teammates like Carmelo Anthony and Luka Doncic. So it wasn't just on him, but he ended up being the guy ejected from those situations, and he ended up in Washington, just like our friend Brogdon down there. And you probably do start soul searching a little bit, and he changed his game too. We talked about all this last year, but to me, it's his trusted teammates are going to look for him. That stood out to me there too, that he knew guys were going to set him up for those shots early, and they did, right? First 4, 5 of their first 7 possessions, they went to him. And then, I think to the third quarter too, they're going through that drought there to give up a 22-8 run to the Clippers, and they set up 2 plays for him facing up guys. And, those are the plays where you're like, all right, he's back, because he has to create off the dribble against Zubac. He has to, bang physically with Coffee and kind of unload him there off him on the switch. So, yeah, Amir Coffee.
A different Coffee. Different type of coffee.
So,
maybe that was a little symbolic what he was doing.
No one asked him about the coffee there, huh?
You would have. I feel like you would.
I would have.
Maybe Jared. That's a Jared question, probably.
What were you drinking on your way?
Wait, how do you take your coffee? That's a good question.
He's an espresso guy. So
he's an espresso guy.
Yeah, it was cool. And I think, I like the fact, again, to go back to his last comment there.
What's that?
He's not, going back to his last comment there, I like the fact that he's not going to be in and out of the lineup a ton here. That was a big question I had coming into today. Is he 1,000% back? Will there be heavy management? Will there be super prohibitive restrictions on his minutes there? And none of that seems to be the case. So, we'll see what happens over the next week here. They play the Cavs on Sunday and the Heat on Monday. So that's a back-to-back. He'll have to sit out of one of those games. And Horford's obviously out of either half of those two. So it feels like over the next week here, those two won't get to play together a ton. Next weekend, Bucks on Friday, Grizzlies on Saturday. So he's going to miss 2 of the next 6 games here, as will Horford. So other than that, though, looks like he's good after then. You got the in-season tournament coming up on Friday. Hopefully you can clinch a spot in that whole thing and get that experience.
Holding their breath, hoping that they can advance in the cup, the Emirates Cup.
Couldn't be too hard, right? Beating the Bulls, but they need some help from the Cavs, of course. Cavs got to beat the Hawks. So, I'm going to be out Friday, Jimmy, here on the show. So if you want any cup questions, you're going to have to get them in.
These are the time to get your cup questions in. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be many of those. But
we do have Pritchard here, though. Pritchard talked a little bit about Porzingis being back and how that changes their defense.
Yeah, we're going to play this clip now. I think it has to also do with some 6th man of the year talk, but let's just let Pritchard talk about it. And
for 6th man of the year so far this season. Is that a goal of yours? Does that mean anything to you?
I've said this before. I mean, it's really out of my control. Like, if I get voted for that and I get that honor, that'd be incredible. But I'm not going to, chase it and, go try to get stats. It's more about playing winning basketball. And, like I said, if I'm fortunate enough to win it through that, then that'd be an honor.
So, okay. 6th man of the year, Noah was saying how, the odds are out right now and he's the favorite at this moment. And again, something that we may or may not have broke on this show at our season preview, that Peyton Pritchard was going to be 6th man of the year. I think Bobby was part of that prediction committee. That was 3 or 4 panels here. Noah, clearly one of them. Joe Sway, rest in peace. He got bullied out of his prediction, but he also felt that way.
That was ridiculous.
That was pretty ridiculous, but that was awesome. And he's showing up. I mean, you talk about, when you think about the Celtics, what comes to mind? How about that second quarter? The barrage of 3-pointers. Monstrous is a word. Phenomenal. Gigantic, ginormous,
phenomenal, historic. I hate throwing that word around, but was the most.
Nobody loves throwing that word around more than you. What are you talking about?
I'm not a historic, or maybe I used to be, but I actually, I read an article about how sports writers call everything historic, and most of it's not historic. So I kind of stopped.
Did you stop it? Because dude, one night you called Al Horford's Al Horford had a good game. You're like, we'll never forget where we were the night Al Horford.
Yeah, I didn't use the word though.
And
that was true. That was true. The game against Milwaukee 2 years ago.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
you love that word. The chat is not letting you get away with that.
So what was I saying? Oh yeah, historic, right? Most points ever in a quarter. 51 points.
Oh, and then they tied for the most 3-pointers made in a quarter, which was 12.
Right. So they broke the Cavs record. Of course, everything gets set 2 weeks ago, right? So the Cavs scored 49 a quarter 2 weeks ago, and now the Celtics own the NBA record with a 51-point quarter.
when you're talking about offense now, it feels like the records are being broken like every few weeks, right? It doesn't feel as special as maybe it once
It's like
did.
passing in the NFL, right? I'll do a John comparison.
Yeah, I guess in a way. But although now the quarterbacks stink, so it would actually be a pretty big deal for any of them to go near the quarterbacks that we grew up watching. Brady,
Yeah,
the Mannings. Even like don't get me started on the quarterback play right now. But yeah, that and again, Pritchard's part of that, right? You can't really talk about this barrage and this style of play between the Celtics team without mentioning Pritchard, because he is a lethal 3-point shooter. And then he's not stopping anytime soon. So
do you feel like he's gonna win? So obviously there you talked about it. I was actually gonna ask him that too, so I'm glad Zach did. Is he thinking about 6-man? Is he chasing it? It feels pretty natural for him. It doesn't feel like he's forcing it. It doesn't feel like he's chasing stats, as he said. But he's the front runner by a good margin here in this. And I'll pull up the odds right now. And we're still early in the season, but it feels like he's in a really good spot if their rotation remains the same and his role remains the same to win this thing, amazingly enough, because he was like plus 2,000, Jimmy, when we started the year. It was a bold take, and Misha Rod and Joe Sway saying that. And he's made it look easy. I can't believe every single night he's doing this right now.
It's come to be something that you expect. I mean,
and they needed it tonight in that third quarter. They started 0 for 8, lackluster offense. He subs in, and you knew he was going to save them there.
Yeah, and the difference is he used to come in spurts, right? And he used to kind of give them energy, and we used to talk about Sparky and all that stuff.
He's plus 170 now, heavy favorite over Hield.
Whole different vibe now when he comes into the game. It's just like you're kind of looking to see when he's coming into the game. It's an exciting moment, right?
You need him sometimes.
You need him. You absolutely do need him, and it feels like as much respect as now fans and I think around the league are giving him, I think his teammates actually know that he's even better than what we know, because you'll see it on social media. Like Jaylen Brown will drop a comment on Instagram, basically being like, if there's like a highlight video of Pritchard, something about Pritchard, Jaylen Brown will be there in full support, like just with a comment like facts, like he's like the hardest guy to defend in practice. You know what I mean? Like these guys, it's not blowing smoke. It's not over, exaggerating what this guy's capable of. He has the respect of his teammates, and that's earned. If you're a guy like Peyton Pritchard, you kind of have to earn everything that comes your way. He wasn't really necessarily born to be the prototype basketball player, undersized guard. I don't think he's ever been seen without a basketball in his hand at some point, right? So, and that's just due to the hard work that he's put in. So you got to give him all the credit in the world for being in the position that he's in now. And this was just another game.
And Nate Jones there threw it out during the game. A good b-ball follower who's in the sneaker business. Maybe best contract in the NBA right now. He signed through 2028 at $6 million a year.
Yeah, that's a pretty legit contract. I'll give you that. This is one of those games too, Bobby, and sorry if I'm distracted. I'm trying to do a little producing at the same time, but you didn't need to talk. You didn't need a Tatum game. You didn't need a Brown game. You're getting the help from guys who are, the complementary players. We talked about Pritchard. We haven't talked about Kayada though. We talked about Porzingis, obviously, but having Kayada out there too, a guy that you've been able to sort of have some bonus development time with Porzingis being out. He's now also a guy that you can lean on, depend on a little bit more than you ever thought you could. And tonight, 12 points, 5 of 6 from the field, almost a double-double. You know what I mean? 4 blocks and a plus 29 right there with Pritchard in terms of having a positive influence in this game.
Yeah, for sure. And they needed it. Like I said earlier, you didn't know how much Porzingis you're going to get in this game. Tillman's on option here in this matchup. They obviously didn't like that. And no Luke, no Al. You needed a steady night from Kayada, and he gave you more than that. I felt like the putbacks, the lobs that you can get to him, the defense much better in this game. And again, I like how they're using him in that roaming role. I didn't get to ask Joe after the game, obviously, and I wonder how you feel about this, Jimmy, but I almost feel like, when Porzingis is out there, they're playing through him in the high post on offense, right? Defensively, he's just kind of roaming around or dropping back. I feel like that makes it easier to let Kayda do those things. And I almost wonder if those flowed right off each other because you run all those high post sets and above the break sets for Porzingis there. Kayda comes in and does the same stuff, hence the 3 assists there. His handoff game was really good in this. And then defensively, you just letting him roam, which is pretty much what Porzingis is doing back there, just kind of staying back and protecting the rim. And, those two seem to complement each other, playing separately from each other. And I'm interested to actually see, once Horford comes back, can Porzingis and Kayda play together a little bit? Obviously, Porzingis is going to stand out and shoot threes. Kayda can be the guy playing a little closer to the basket. Maybe Kayda's even screening for Porzingis a little bit, and they're running some pick and roll. I think there's some interesting things those two guys can do. And then obviously on the defensive end, at that point, you have 2 7-footers, 2 shot blockers who are standing back there and basically taking the pain away entirely from the other team. Those are 2 guys that can defend perimeter players too. You might end up, obviously, once Horford's back, with a lineup with Kayda and Porzingis out there that's unstoppable defensively. And I think our guy Taylor Snow there with the Celtics tweeted out, "We hate the comparison. I don't think it's super accurate all the time, but this is amazing." And I'm going to pull it up on the screen here.
Do it, please.
Kayda tonight.
Are you going to pull it up just on your screen? Sorry, I thought you were going to show everybody.
Here we go. Kayda tonight. Only the 2nd reserve in the last 7 seasons with 12 points, 9 rebounds, 4 blocks, 3 assists, 2 steals. The other,
wow,
Robert Williams.
Do we have our new Rob Will? John
I don't like the comparison, but they found a way to make it apt.
It works. Hey, listen, the fact that we're even talking about this stat, and this is the first guy since, again, Kayda is a player that was not on, basically, I mean, to an extent, he may have been on some people's like deep radar, like deep bench, but this is an entirely different stratosphere that we're seeing from Kayda right now. He's a physical guy out there. I think he gives them some nastiness that you want to see. And at times this team can be, I think the one thing you could say about them is sometimes they can get pushed around.
Not even nastiness, physicality.
Physicality.
Like someone who's physically intimidating at the rim.
Right. And that's what he's capable of getting to. And now he doesn't have to. Now, you know what? He can play his game and not be criticized by people who are expecting way more than what they should be expecting out of a guy that, a month or 2 ago wasn't even considered at all. We got one more ad that we're going to do. We can't forget about our good friends, Nutrafol. And guys, it's the holiday season, okay? And you might be thinking, what kind of gifts can you give? You want to get a little creative? Think about somebody in your life that might need a product like Nutrafol. Maybe they're experiencing some hair thinning. Like I said, you never thought of it as a gift, but they will be thanking you later. Get your friend or family member something they actually need instead of another sweater. Bobby actually has all the sweaters. So if you're looking for a sweater, you're not going to find one. He's got all the sweaters and all the turtlenecks, but he does not have all the Nutrafol. That is still available, and you can still get that. And it's gifting Nutrafol. It's a meaningful way to show you care about their well-being and confidence. Nutrafol is the #1 dermatologist recommended hair growth supplement brand, trusted by over 1 million people. See thicker, stronger, faster growing hair with less shedding in just 3 to 6 months with Nutrafol. While many supplements rely solely on ingredient studies, Nutrafol clinically tests final formulations to ensure their efficacy, big word. In a clinical study, 72% of men saw more scalp coverage after taking Nutrafol men hair growth supplement for 6 months, and 86% of women saw improved hair growth after taking Nutrafol women hair growth supplement for 6 months. So whether you're gifting yourself or a loved one, give the gift of great hair growth this holiday season. Right now, Nutrafol is offering our listeners $10 off any order. Enjoy free shipping when you subscribe. Go to Nutrafol.com and enter the promo code GARDENGIFT. Nutrafol.com, spelled Nutrafol.com, promo code Garden Gift, GARDENGIFT, Garden Gift. That's Nutrafol.com, promo code Garden Gift. I have a couple buddies who are hopefully still watching the show tonight that might be interested in Nutrafol. Shout out Chuck, shout out Johnny, a couple guys that could just something to consider. You know, hairline stuff. Anyways, those are our friends Nutrafol. Bobby, we're gonna wrap in a few minutes, guys. It's one of those games. There's just a lot of things going on behind the scenes. We've got people in and out, and I think we've hit on all the big parts of this game, Bobby. I mean, let's be honest. We're gonna remember one thing from this game, and it's Kristaps Porzingis. We can talk about Tatum or Brown or Kayada or
Pritchard.
whatever. Pritchard, we've already talked about him. We can talk about the Clippers if we want, but like, why? It doesn't matter. None of it matters. The only thing that matters is Porzingis. Could it have gone better? Could it have gone worse? Like overall, just we'll get your final take on Porzingis here, and then we're gonna finish with a little. We'll do, Bobby. We will finish with a little Thanksgiving talk. It's too bad that we don't have the whole panel here. Needed to get Noah's take. We're gonna have to get a rain check on her Thanksgiving takes.
Should be back on Black Friday. You can do a post reaction.
Maybe a post reaction. That would be great because I thought I teased that she was coming back on. So single tier because I don't know if that's going to happen. But give me Porzingis, and then we'll do a quick Thanksgiving segment. We'll wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. We'll be on our way.
Well, yeah, I mean, we've mentioned the impact and what it can be and what it can grow into here. But the one thing I thought about earlier is they're 15-3 now, 6 wins in a row. When they had that slip up against the Warriors and some of the other teams, Hawks early on, you started to think, like Porzingis being out and just the malaise and boredom and all that. Like they're not going to have that 2009 start, which was one of the things I was looking for coming into the year. Like, can they go off to like 27-2, like that 09 team did here? And I think that's back on track now. Sunday's going to be tough against Cleveland. You don't want to overlook Chicago on Friday, but now that you have the full group intact, now that you have this much versatility and health, you're looking at a team that's going to go on a tear here. And I don't know if it's going to be 7 wins in a row or 10 or 15. They obviously won, 19 in a row that year in 09. I'm not going to predict that, but an 09-like start, I think, is back in play here. And they're just making it look so easy. Like, Porzingis didn't even shoot great in this game, and they're still just raining down threes at a historic rate, Jimmy. And just seamless offense. They get to the shot so quickly. And, Gary asked the question, I think you missed Joe before you came on, but like the Clippers knew what the Celtics wanted to do. They want, you knew you had to prevent the threes. You knew you didn't want to get demoralized by the runs. And it still happened. And teams just don't seem to have the answers. Teams don't have the ability. Remember at the beginning of the year, Jimmy, we're asking like, a team's going to be able to shoot threes like they do, or teams just going to try to chase the Celtics with 3-point attempts. No one can do it. Not many teams can do it, certainly here. And now you just add this piece back in here. And, how many wins in a row could you end up seeing here, Jimmy? I know the
what are they at, 6 now?
Yeah.
I mean, there's no reason to believe they will ever lose again, Bobby, if we're being completely honest. They might just finish the year with 3 losses. Why not? Why not us, as they say? But no, I listen. I think you nailed it on the head. I mean, it's the Porzingis game, getting him back out there on the court. Finished, and I know he's going to say he didn't have a great shooting night, and we would agree, at least from the 3-point. But just being able to give them different avenues to score on offensive, and also the way that he's going to be able to help some of those defensive issues, if you want to call them, in the paint, low post, things of that nature. So good to have Porzingis back. Give me one thing that you're thankful for, Celtics related, Bobby. We'll keep a Thanksgiving theme for a couple more minutes, and then we'll head out.
It's gotta be Brad.
One Celtics related thing. Yeah, okay, that could, sure. You tell me.
You look at this roster, what they have right now, everything going on, and it all started to turn when he took over. The Horford luxury, the Porzingis addition, White, Holiday, who, we didn't mention him tonight, but still trying to find a groove himself. But all these guys, this almost perfect roster construction, all goes back to him. And he got lucky. I keep mentioning that, fact they almost traded Pritchard for Pirtle. I don't know how that would have gone. Maybe you don't get Porzingis
You
at
don't
that
like
point,
it.
but
You wouldn't have liked it, yeah.
you always have like the Danny what if too, right? Like, what if he traded the Tatum and Brown picks for Justice Winslow? Like, that's his great what if. So you always have dodge bullets there, but how it worked out, how this roster's come together, and just this tear. And sometimes we're sitting here, Jimmy, and we're just bored, right? Like, oh, here we go again. They're gonna hit 25 threes. They're gonna win by 30, and we're just gonna sit here and watch.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
That's pretty special. It's not going to last forever, right? We got all these questions about ownership and salary and all that stuff going into the future. But for this year, like, it looks like it's going to be something all time, especially with Porzingis back here early now. So, be appreciative for this roster that they built, pieces they have here, and the chance to repeat. Like, that's not typical either. So, I mean, it can be routine, maybe even a little boring watching the level of success they're having right now and the amount of games that they're going to win, but it's not going to last forever. So, enjoy it, be thankful for sure.
Enjoy it while it lasts. I'm thankful for Irving Grousbeck's investments over the course of his life. That's just allowed him to just not give an F about what his son does with his checkbook. Let's be honest. I think that's been the best part about the last 20 years here is Irving's just like, yeah, sure. Here, yeah, let me write this check, write that check. And Wick's just been skipping around town, loving life. Sounds like it's not going to last forever, right? But the good times have certainly rolled, and I'm very thankful for that. Having a ownership group that has been willing to spend fireworks, the whole 9 yards, and putting a winning product out there. There's been a couple of dark seasons, but every franchise goes through it. But I think overall, the Celtics are looking pretty good now and into the future. That's what I'm thankful for. We'll get a Bobby. I know you got a jet. You got a busy rest of your night. What's on the menu at the Manning household? What are we looking forward to? Anything that that you guys do big or that you look for on the table every year? Anything you stay away from?
Yeah, I'm not. What's the thing in the can there?
Cranberry sauce.
Cranberry sauce. I avoid
You
that.
didn't know it was cranberry sauce?
Because I avoid it. I don't even know what it's called.
But I can understand not liking real cranberry sauce, like somebody's making it and it's like bitter and not good. But talk about like Ocean Spray canned jellied cranberry sauce. Like, you got to hit that up.
Nah, not
well,
me.
this year, will you try it for us?
Yeah, maybe I'll have a sliver, but I don't eat it. Being in the can, I don't. It's not for me.
Like lowbrow it? You think you're better than us?
No, like from a health standpoint, like
it's a lot of healthy.
Ain't gonna
food
eat too much,
comes out
but
of
it's also. But it's also just the taste. I'm not into
Okay.
it. So
Hey, you're
whatever
not
you want to
into
say, whatever the reason is.
What
but
about,
I love.
yeah,
To go the other way, it might not be the healthiest either. But stuffing, I am a big stuffing guy, especially with the gravy. My aunt does a great gravy, and
okay, I think gravy is massive for the Thanksgiving table. The one crazy thing about John, and I know it pains him to not be on this segment because he'll talk about food. He can do a food podcast, really. He's not a gravy guy. Like, he doesn't even put gravy. Like, you won't find gravy on his
I
plate.
can't imagine that. How do you get through the turkey without it?
How do you get? I mean, whether it's the turkey, the mashed potatoes, the stuffing, you just kind of slop the gravy on the plate and you just go to town. I don't really.
Does he just have a giant stick of butter sitting over bowl?
He has to have like water on deck to make sure he doesn't choke to death. I mean, turkey can be very dry. I mean, dark meat, white meat conversation, we can have that. But turkey, generally speaking, if not done right, and it's not easy to cook. And I'm sure people have been stuck at a table with a dry turkey. You're looking to drink the gravy at that point, if that's the case. So the Xanis non-gravy take is maybe one of his worst.
I got some crap for this last year, but I do love green beans.
That's tough. I can see why you get. That's green beans will not be on my plate.
None at all. Is that what you avoid?
Oh, I'm not going near green beans. I am passing that. It's like the kids' table at Thanksgiving. Yep, I'm gonna take that vegetable, pass it down. I'll take that vegetable, pass it down. I'll do like carrots, glazed carrots are good out there. If we're talking about vegetables, obviously mashed potatoes. Squash, got to have a little bit of squash out there as far as the vegetables go. Then you've got your turkey, your stuffing. Stuffing can go a number of ways. I'm pretty sure John does, like, he gets kind of creative with the stuffing. You can get like sausage in there. You can go if you can make a good stuffing, you can make a lot. You're a good chef. I'll just say that. If you can make a really good stuffing and get creative with it, not just like add water to an existing like bag of stuffing. You got to actually get down into the nitty gritty of it. And then what?
Dessert.
Yeah, dessert.
Dessert, and then we do have Noah on hand here, and since I'm so intrigued, since I want to know like what's on her plate, we'll sub her in. But I've grown to love, not to pull John,
what's your
pumpkin pie.
Pumpkin pie.
I love it. I hated it growing up. Hated it growing up. Couldn't stand it. I didn't like pumpkin anything. But maybe in my 20s, mid-20s, I can't get enough of it. And that pie clears out fast in our house. Like if you don't get there and get a slice or two, it's gone. So I'm going to be first in line.
That's the beauty of, there's a lot of good things about Thanksgiving and everything, but like the pie situation is top notch because like pies are like they're like a once a year thing. Like no one, like if you're just randomly eating pies like throughout the course of the year, like it's kind of a bit of a weird move. I feel like the pie sales are like 99% in November, and then the rest of the year, like you may get you could do an apple pie a little bit more often, but other than that, I mean, we're talking pecan pie, blueberry pie, ricotta pie, you can go down the list, pumpkin pie. These are Thanksgiving pies. So what I always say is, F me up. Let's put all the pies out there. I'm gonna try a slice of every single one. I might only do a few bites of each slice, not to get wasteful on everybody. I'm not trying to be wasteful, but that's just kind of how Thanksgiving goes. You got to get your fixins in, Bobby.
All right, here's the moment everyone's been waiting for, Jimmy. Let's see what's on.
Bobby, happy Thanksgiving to you. Thank you for jumping on. And I know I speak for the rest of the show and the chat. We're very thankful for your reporting on this team for us.
Happy Thanksgiving to you, Jimmy. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. See how much you really loved me saying that. Doesn't care. There she is.
Yo.
The woman of the hour. Everyone's been. We were about to stop the show, and they were like, no, we need food talk. We need Noah's Thanksgiving.
You guys are going to be disappointed.
All right, Noah, let's paint a picture. It's Thanksgiving Day. You're going home or you're home. Is football on? Are you guys got the 12:30 game on, or is that not something? Are you going to have to figure out, like, you're going to watch a random basketball game?
Yeah, it'll be on in the background. There's no basketball on Thanksgiving, right?
I know, but maybe you just DVR'd one. You're a basketball junkie. There's always got to be like.
Yeah, there'll be something. There'll be something. My dad will find something to put on.
This year, the 12:30 game is Lions Bears. It's a fine game. The second game, Cowboys Giants, is a horrible game.
I don't even know if these are good games or not.
They're all typically bad. We'll just say they're bad. But take us through the dinner situation. If everyone, I'll let you speak for yourself, but there's a reason why we're asking. Your plate's going to look a little bit different. Is that fair?
So first of all, I have a little anecdote before I get into my Thanksgiving plate.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just want to say there's a little bit of a movement here at TD Garden for more plant-based options.
Really?
I went to go buy my brother. No, not because of me, but I went to go buy my brother a slice of pizza, a vegan slice of pizza, because he's vegan. And they said we're actually this is at TD Garden, Sal's Pizza in the balcony. They said we're actually all out. A lot of people have gotten vegan pizza tonight. That was at halftime. So
today?
That was today. My brother came here with his friends. He was telling me I don't want to spend any money on this. I said, let me treat you to a slice of pizza.
They sold both pizzas tonight at the TD Garden. Both of them sold out.
No, it was not 2 slices. Come on.
2 whole pizzas.
But as soon as it happened, I was bummed for my brother who wanted a vegan pizza, but I was happy because I knew I was going to be able to share the story here with you all.
What goes into a vegan pizza for those of us who have no idea? So the cheese is not cheese.
It's plant-based cheese, so you make it out of cashews, coconut, a bunch of different options.
Cheese out of cashews.
Yeah, cashews like my favorite kind because it's like healthy. It's high in protein. Also, I just want to say, I know people are going to be like, "Oh, why can't vegans ever stop talking about how they're vegan?" I'm not bringing it
I'm
up.
asking.
I just want
I'm asking.
no, but I'm saying this preemptively because I already know tomorrow all the comments are going to be like, "Classic vegans can't stop talking about being vegan." I just want to say it's not me that's brought it
we
up.
say
So
those
I'm
are
happy to talk about it.
Classic YouTube commenter trolls. So there's everyone's classic in this situation. So we can all just. But I'm
Okay.
bringing this up so you have free reign in this case. They're not wrong. Vegans love talking about being vegan, but in this case, we'll let it slide. We'll let it slide this one time.
So I do fulfill the stereotype, but I just want to say it for this purposes.
Yeah, right.
So okay, what do I?
Take us through
what do
what's
I
going
eat
on the
for
dinner plate.
Thanksgiving?
You're
Okay.
showing up to dinner.
So,
Yeah.
first of all, it's not quite the same as like the conventional Thanksgiving menu that's like the same every single year. It just I mean like no tofurkey. So salad, non-negotiable, like a big salad. Yeah, like balsamic. Beans, like beans, corn.
Beans. Like what kind of beans are we talking about? Here?
Black beans, green beans in separate dishes, but like both of those would be sides.
You can't mix
Mashed
the beans.
potatoes.
Okay.
Well, green beans and black beans would be a weird combo.
Okay, yeah, no, sorry.
I mean,
I thought we were talking about your salad still. Go on.
Yeah. And then like vegan ravioli or like gnocchi. Like these are all like vegan options that are like that we'll buy from we'll buy from like Whole Foods. Tofu. Have you had like saag paneer from like Indian restaurants?
I can't tell you the first thing about what you just said.
Saag paneer is like spinach. It's like creamed spinach with cheese, but we make like a vegan version that's with tofu instead.
Wow. Okay.
So basically, there's no rhyme or reason to it. It's just like things that my parents have been
What's
making.
the
for a long
main?
time.
What would you say the main would be, or is it just a bunch of?
I don't know that
bunch of
there's a
sides
main.
going
I don't know that
Okay.
there's one main. I think it kind of depends who you are. Like for me, low key, like the saag paneer, that's like my favorite thing.
It's green apparently.
But it's spinach. So
Paneer
it's
is
creamed
fine.
spinach.
I have heard of the paneer, but the sag, maybe that's the
Sag is like the spinach. So paneer is the cheese, sag's the spinach. But we do it with tofu. No, like my family, because I was raised vegetarian, I've never eaten meat in my life. So I don't like plant-based meat because I'm not trying to imitate the taste of meat because I'm used to eating. I'm used to eating like other things. So my whole family's vegan actually. So we, yeah.
So Thanksgiving
my whole family's
is a little bit
vegan.
interesting, yeah.
Thanksgiving is we're pretty standard because everybody eats the same stuff.
Still thankful. Just
what about
maybe
I'll
dessert?
post
Is there
my
a
plate.
dessert situation? Post your plate.
Yeah, like apple pie,
We can eat apples.
mango, just fresh mangoes.
Sure. Yeah, we can do fruits, right? We're cool with fruits.
I know it sounds bad, and I understand like this doesn't sound like a normal Thanksgiving meal. But every one of my friends that's come home for Thanksgiving, like in college, I always had like some random friend come with us, and like they were not vegetarian. They were always blown away by how good it was. So I have every reason
And
to
how
think
many
that
of them
anybody
came back?
Well, he came back. Okay.
Oh no.
So and also sweet potatoes, critical part of the meal. Absolutely.
Sweet potatoes, absolutely. Yams. Yeah.
Yams.
I would say that's a staple. We can agree on that.
I understand it sounds bad, but I promise you guys, it's really not. Like they came back. My friends were not lying. I promise. My parents are great cooks. Mostly my dad. He kind of carries. He carries the Thanksgiving plate.
I feel like you have to be.
Also, my family is actually not vitamin deficient. I saw one of those comments. A lot's happening at
You
once
don't
here in
have
the
to
chat.
respond to those.
No. I just want to say though. My dad is 64 years old, and he's playing basketball with 25-year-olds every night. If you find my dad at any local gym in Boston, he will light you up for 30 points. So whatever he's doing, whatever he's doing, it
Daddy
works.
Dalzell can still get it.
Yep.
Okay.
So
right. Challenge accepted. I think maybe we'll have to get him out there in the court. The vegans are still going strong. I mean, I bet you. I'll say this: there's probably no Thanksgiving hangover in your house, like at 5
no, there's
p.m.
no hangover.
Or
Everybody
5
feels
p.m.
great.
or 6 p.m. You guys aren't all like passed out on the couch with like a turkey. What do they call it? I forget what they call it. Turkey something or other when you can't move. whatever. I guess I ruined the joke. Turkey something. Hangover? No. Somebody in the comments will hit me up with it. A turkey, like you're basically unconscious, kind of. Anyways.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, I'm just kind of waiting for the chat to save me. Coma. Turkey coma.
Also, my family's non-Mormon. Sorry. I'm trying to.
Noah, you don't.
I got to dispute the rumors as they come. No, but I just like this is my only chance to defend myself. Not that there's anything wrong with being Mormon, but my family is just not Mormon.
Sure, yeah. Not that there's anything wrong with that, guys.
So
all right. So before we offend anybody else, we're gonna probably call it. Thank you to Noah for. I would say this was very informative. Actually, this was good.
I hope people follow along on Twitter. On Thursday, I'll post some slides. Maybe people
I
will
like
feel
that.
inspired. So
her Twitter account is not the real Bob Manning. That's just still the
Noa
label
Dalzell.
up here. It's at Noa Dalzell, and she is going to not only post Thanksgiving pictures and things of that nature, but she will have some content from tonight at the game with Bobby. They're going to hit on Porzingis, going to hit it hard, talk all about the a big event of Porzingis returning. Celtics going to 15-3 on the season, beating up on a Clippers team, another team out west that's kind of there, I think. I'm not sure if anyone has big expectations for this Clippers team. They're kind of floating around in the western abyss, and the Celtics took care of business pretty easily, might I add, tonight, with some help of Porzingis, Boston Pea Party himself, Peyton Pritchard, and a couple other familiar names. We want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. I think I will say this, Noah, we're all very thankful for you joining our show. We miss Joe Sway, but we have to say Noah's been an awesome addition to our show. We're very thankful that she's able to jump on here, slowly learn about what's going on with the show and some of like the lore, but also she's kind of forming her own lore herself. She's like she's forming her own path here, and she's going toe to toe with all the commenters, as she should be, as we used to do as well. So it's coming on pretty well. So we want to thank Noah. We want to thank all the people who are watching, who have watched over the years, especially this year, and followed us all the way up through the Celtics championship last season. And this season's shaping up to be a pretty good one as well. So we are thankful for everyone watching. We're even thankful for the commenters, although some of them can be a little hurtful at times. We're still thankful. We got to keep our haters on their toes. That's why you get up in the morning. You can't disappoint the haters, Noah. You got to give them something.
That's true. And shout out Jimmy for doing this for 90 minutes. Sorry about my computer. Sorry to Bobby on my computer for ousting him multiple times here. It was a huge professional low for me to realize that I showed up to the workplace with literally nothing besides for my backpack. So that won't happen again. But I appreciate you guys for the flexibility.
We'll let it slide this time. We won't fire you. People want to know where the hard hat is. Hard hat's here. I'm thankful for everybody who's buying these hard hats and this merch. We're going to have some big merch news coming out over the next week. So stay tuned for that. We're going to have a Black Friday sale. So make sure you watch Friday's show for the discount code. It's going to be the best discount code of the year. So if you were thinking about buying a hard hat, I can guarantee you that Friday will be your best chance and your cheapest chance to do so. I'm going to be done talking. I know Noah and Bobby are waiting to get out there, and Amit's probably going to kill me. So signing off, Celtics defeat the Clippers 126-94. I'm Jimmy Toscano. That's Noa Dalzell. That was Bobby Manning. That was John Zanis. Shout out John for the beginning of the show. And we will see you guys. I don't even think Amit's here to do the outro, so I'm going to have to go find the outro. Dun, 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 dun. And we will see you guys. Dun, 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 dun. Where's the outro?
I think if you just end it, it'll be.
No.
I'll do it.
No.
Oh,
Don't
no?
end it. Don't end it. We got to do the outro. Hold on.
Okay. I think it's automatic, though. I think if
It's
you ended it.
not automatic. It'll just literally end the show unless I look at the. Dude, it's not here, though. It's not here. Here's Boomer Rage Cam. I don't think it's here.
I'm pretty
Merch.
sure. Right? If you
No.
ended it, it'll just.
No,
Bobby's
it
coming in
won't.
for the rescue.
Bobby, can you tell us where the outro is?
He can't hear you, but he's.
Wait, Amit's got an outro for us, I think.
No, he doesn't.
He said he was going to work on an outro.
He had a phenomenal game.
Porford's out. I think it's an option.
That did not sound like a chair.
It was a freaking chair. It does sound like a chair.